I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands.
Welcome to Build an Iconic Life podcast. I'm your host, Chris Whitehead, and this podcast is dedicated to help you build a life with zero regrets by focusing on how you have everything you need to stand up, stand out, and live life on your terms. Let's dive right in. Welcome to Build an Iconic Life. I'm here with Scott Simons. He's a really good friend of mine, and he's a very successful entrepreneur, and we're going to dive into that. But I think the subject that we're talking about, this is even on the back end. We're recording this right now while people in North Carolina are still being discovered. And Scott and I both have friends that are literally on the ground raising money, bringing in helicopters, bringing in thousands of pounds of supplies, utilizing social media to crowdsource and crowdfund, because it takes the government a long time to come and rescue people. But we're talking about integrity. We're talking about community. We're talking about leaving legacies. And we're talking about being the example that you want to see in the world. And, you know, Scott, for me, in the construction industry post-COVID, it was shipping that started to become the problem. And we're collecting deposits and we're making promises to our clients. And next thing you know, you can't find insulation, or that door is going to take 16 weeks to get in. And it's twice the price that they had quoted because the shipping is $750 to ship one door. And we had to make some pivots too. And one of those pivots was the people that were used to making that money. Because in our industry, a lot of people were stay at home. They started getting checks from the government because they were forced to stay home and they were living a higher lifestyle. That included some of our employees making more money by doing less. And when it came to everything tightening down for us, some of our people didn't really want to start working harder. They'd gotten kind of fat and happy with what was going on. And as an owner, I had to make some actually pretty tough decisions, man. Because I've been a business owner for 26 years. I know what it's like to grind and fulfill your promises to people, even when you're not making the money that you thought you were going to make. It's one of the reasons I've been a business owner for so long. And it's fun for me to watch people see that example and who continues to follow, and then who was all lip service, because anybody can say anything when things are going well. It's how you show up when things aren't. And man, I appreciate you taking time to come on this show, because my consideration, right? You're wise and you speak to a lot of very high-end people that are well known in the influencer space. And I believe what you're doing is you're sharing all the experiences that you've had to help people become more successful. Is that a fair statement?
That's very fair. Yeah. I've learned from some of the best mentors out there. I mean, Andy Frisella, some of these people are a little bit controversial, you know, Grant Cardone,
Sure.
Ed Mylett, you know, Danelle Delgado. I research a lot of people and I consume a lot of their information. And, you know, you got to be careful who you follow. I mean, really pay attention for names that you endorse, because people do change. And, you know, also people will carry some negativity about these people when they don't know them. But, you know, I paid and got into a lot of entrepreneur groups that were more successful than me, because I wanted to learn beyond just the auto industry. So day to day, I'm managing partner and general manager of 5 car dealerships. So that would be a full-time job, just one of them, much less 5. And then I have about 175 associates here in the western part of Virginia. From there, this is things that I learned from other people. You know, Grant Cardone's taught me a lot. I know he's controversial, but he's taught me a lot. And I don't 100% agree with 100% of everything everybody says. Like, I'm a pro-capitalist, love America, back the blue, back the police, public servants, back our military. I don't believe in lawlessness. I don't believe in war. I pray for peace, you know, because I do know that a lot of that's just about money. But I align a lot with the conservative party, but I don't agree with everything they say. Like, I don't agree with 100% of anything if anybody says, because then I take what little bit I learned. Like, one thing that Grant Cardone taught me was, you know, save your money. When you look at your bank account, and things are going well, you can get lazy. Yeah, I can afford this. Yeah, I can afford that. Or, you just don't work conservatively, and you're not wise with your money. So what I did is I opened up an S corporation that all my entities that I own, which is 20, no, I'm up to 31 entities now that I got K1s for, I'm invested in, that Simon's Enterprises Inc. owns, which is an S corp. And the reason why I set up an S corp is the negatives, the gains, and the wins. So I have a lot of wins in there, but I do have a couple losses in there, right? Some of the real estate you have cash flow coming in, but it shows a loss on depreciation. So I learned that from someone much smarter than me. But what Grant told me was, hey, just always invest your money. So I take the money from the auto industry, which is what I know. I've been in a long time, run it, use it to invest in all these other entities. And I just talk to people, like conversations with you. And the conversation would go, hey, Chris, I have a little bit of capital, and I have a little bit of capital. I got great credit. I got a good balance sheet. Simon's Enterprises Inc. has a good balance sheet. If there's anything that you and I could partner on, what I bring to the table is some leadership. I don't have a whole lot of time. I've taken some losses for sure. I mean, I've invested in some gyms in Florida where me and two other guys, Arte brothers of mine, lost $1.3 million. So trust me, I've got some black eyes, and I've learned some very valuable lessons. And I do know how to operate, a car dealership, which does go to other businesses. But Chris, if there's any opportunity that would benefit me or you, keep me in mind. Just keep me in mind. And that one conversation has led to my wife and I, which the S corporation is a single person, but it's an entity that I would like to pass over to my children if they show that they are worthy of passing it down to. If they're not good citizens, then I'll just donate it to charity, because I'm not going to just give them what I've built or what we've built because they're my children. And so what I've learned from other people, Chris, is much smarter than me. And then I just go and focus on what I know. But that one conversation has led to part owning a sports complex, part owning organic chicken company, part owning the gyms, but we since have closed, apartment complexes. I've invested multiple times with Grant Cardone. And I'm not saying that to brag, but the whole thing is I build up capital, work my butt off in what I know, and then deploy that money into these entities. And the reason why I did the S corporation is, I have some losses. Those losses do offset some of my gains. So it's just a tax strategy. And my children are on payroll. My wife's on payroll. But those are things that I learned from people much smarter than me. Like when I'm around you and you're talking, I listen. Like I ask open-ended questions, and I know we're on a podcast right now, and then I just don't say a whole lot. And then if it's somebody that I align with, another hack that I do is I know people have fancy ways of connecting. I just save myself in my phone as a contact. And it's a very professional looking contact. And I know people have cards they bump and everything else, but I save myself as a contact. And my picture on here matches my picture on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, everything, because I want people to recognize my face when they see me. You're the guy that sells cars. I do. And how may I help you? You're the guy that invests. And then what I do is say, once I hear you speak and you're like, damn it, Chris is sharp. Like I could do business with that guy. Like that's somebody that is a good contact for me. I just simply pull out my phone and say, Chris, it was great connecting with you, man, and all your success that you're having. By the way, I would like to keep in contact with you, and I've got my contact stored. What is your cell phone? And I just look at you with my thumbs on here. And 99% of the time, I've gotten those phone numbers. And then I have a connection. Then I said, I'm going to text you. And then, did you get it? Yeah, I got it. Okay, just click it and then save it. And then when you get a chance, send mine back. And they're like, well, heck, my card don't look like that, or I don't look like that, or, I never thought about that. And I said, oh man, it's one of the great hacks to get people's information. And that's led to thousands of contacts in our phone, which, as you know, our network is our network. That's why I'm on here with you. That's why you and I connected. We align in a lot of ways. And that's why no matter who's came and gone, we've always and will always be friends. And I'm sure at some point we've already done business together, but we will do business together. There's no doubt in my mind, all off of that one simple conversation.
And well, it's one simple conversation. And then here's what I respect about you the most. You're the same guy that I met years ago. You've probably become a better version of yourself since then, but you're the
skinnier, a little bit skinnier. A little bit.
Actually, you do look good, man.
Yeah,
But you're the same character. You weren't deviating, you know. And speaking of Grant Cardone, so we have a 0 turn radius mower, right? Because we were paying like $30,000 a year to the landscaper, and I was like, that's an employee. So what I did is I made my son an employee, and he mows the lawn. But at first I was enjoying my new toy, and I'm out there riding that thing, and I'm listening to an audiobook, and it's Grant Cardone's 10X Mentor. And dude, I don't know exactly what happened, but when I understood, so I've always bought and flipped, but I've never bought and held. But when I understood that as rent increased, so did the value of my property, a firework went off in my head. Because I am networked, I immediately called a friend of mine that's a realtor that helps people with investments. That's a year and a half ago. And I utilized Iconic as a way to meet investors, as a way to meet mortgage people, as a way to meet realtors. And we're in the process of doing the exact same thing that you're doing. And I think what we're telling people is with the tiniest amount of strategy and the largest amount of gumption to get something done, and your willingness to ever be a student, regardless of how much you know, seek people out that are where you want to be, find ways to reciprocate value to them, and then simply ask them a question and shut your pie hole, and they will fill you, because successful people want to see other people become successful. That's been my experience, man.
Yeah, I totally. I couldn't agree with you more, because if successful people already have money, right? And so when they give back, also too, what goes around comes around. So someone listens to this today and we help them, that builds us up good karma in the universe. Whatever you want to say, I'm a big about karma. Like, I believe a lot of times when you're going through things, and like right now, I'm going through a little bit of adversity on some things with the dealerships. It's, you know, been a pivot. The first thing I got to do is check myself. Like, okay, what am I doing? Have I variated? Have I deviated? Like what have I done differently? So it's that accountability of saying, let me look inside of me first. But I think you're exactly right. It's getting around those people. And like you just, like I heard you say, hey, I'm buying these rental properties and investing, and my ears perked up. Hey, you know, anything I can do to help as an investor, I trust you. You obviously know what you're doing. And if there's any way that you and I can connect and I can provide any value at all, please let me know. And that may be when you're first starting out, you've bought, say, 5 of these rentals, and then you want to grow. Okay, you know, maybe, or probably not for you, but I'm at the bank's capacity, this one lender that will lend and give me favorable rates. Hey, who else can I add here with this balance sheet that can help me throw some gasoline on this to where we can really grow? And I tell you, those conversations, I mean, have led to some massive wins. And it's just, but also too, don't slide in the DMs and like, you'll never have me DM you and say, hey, Chris, you know, can I sell you a car today? You know, you won't see me very rarely post about a deal on a car. My message is, I'm here to assist you with any of your automotive needs. And when someone calls, like you had a situation with Subaru, hey man, let me see what I can do to help you. Spring into action. I had a guy just message me last night that needs a football field, and I have a connection with Fishburne Military School. And he goes, our quarterback club, the high schools won't let us use our field. Fishburne, which is a military school I donate and am affiliated with, they have some fields there. And he said, do you think Fishburne will let me on? He texted me at 10:30 last night, which I was already in bed. I voice messaged him and my contact at Fishburne. I first told the contact at Fishburne, this guy owns Converge Local and is a very successful entrepreneur that could be a donor to the school. So if you can accommodate this gentleman, he would be great for our military school, one of the oldest in the country. And then I connected them through voice text and introduced them because I was about to get on the podcast. And I said, hey, Steve, this is Evan. Evan owns Converge Local, needs a field for youth football. Steve, you know, this is Steve. He's the athletic director of Fishburne Military School. Well, I immediately jumped on it. 1, because I'd forget. 2, because Evan's a really good customer of mine. He buys all his vehicles from me. So yeah, I'm going to go above and beyond. And I said, Steve, if you can accommodate him, I'd really appreciate if you accommodate him. But it'll also help our mission at Fishburne Military School. But see, that happens all day long. Will I benefit from that today? No.
Right.
But will we? Yes, absolutely. Both should benefit from that connection. But it just takes some effort, and it takes being responsive. It takes doing what you say you're going to do. And a lot of people, Chris, I think they think once they arrive, they feel like they don't need to do things like that anymore. Some people, and that's not true. The more you give, the more you do. Like, we hope we change some lives with our talk today. And some people may watch it and say, "Gosh, what Scott's talking about, that's common sense." Okay, well, are you doing it? Are you doing it every day? And probably the answer is no. No, I'm not. But no, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to connect with you, and I heard some business opportunities already, and we're only a few minutes into this, so I'm pretty excited.
I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to talk to you about it offline. And it's funny because the whole reason you're on the podcast is because I met Adam Peters. He got on the podcast. I immediately resonated with this cat. He's building something really awesome for veterans, trying to get that suicide rate daily down. Very low end membership, like $50 a month for veterans to be on there and to communicate with one another. And I was like, I know the guy that I want you to talk to, because I want you, about Arate. So I was like, I want to get him in networks where, people can support him. And I said, talk to Scott about it. There's nothing for me to gain except one thing. At the end of it, I was like, hey, you want to get on my podcast, man? Yeah. And you were like, absolutely. And I was like, God, thank you so much. And again, even this is not necessarily me gaining anything from it. I like to display the people that I resonate with to the world because they impress the heck out of me. So I think that it'll work for other people. But look, we're just in the middle of talking and you're like, hey man, let's talk. And that's how this works. And you don't do it one time. You don't go to B&I, get up at 7 o'clock in the morning for a year and a half, make a little bit of money and say, I don't want to do this crap anymore. If you don't like it, go find another network and go find another network, because there are 8 billion people in the world. There are enough networks of like-minded people for you to hang out with to do plenty of business. But you're absolutely right. Once the business starts flowing, dude, the thing that drives me the most is I love connecting other people that are like-minded. I get joy out of just knowing. I wonder, because I was that guy in little old Nowhereville, Virginia, running a little remodeling company. All my clients are 20 and 30 years older than me. My only friends are my employees, which that's a no-no. So it was a really lonely world, man. And I didn't know how to connect with people. And once I started to, I've never wanted to stop, because if people have never experienced it, I don't care whether you like Grant Cardone or not, but I promise you one thing: if you go to one of his events, you're gonna meet people that are like-minded there. And that energy that you build with those people, it's just like our relationship. That's how you and I met at a networking event. And it's like, I like that guy, and I'm going to have a question. And I could have gone and bought a car from up here easily. But you know what? You made this I told you it's for my son. It's this. What's the vehicle? Blah, blah, blah. The next thing you know, you ship it. And he's in another state from me. And you still made it work out. And then when we did have an issue with it, I texted you immediately. You got on the phone. You did everything you could. You hooked me up with the right people. I want business. And this goes right back around to how this thing started. I'm not going to get that service at Walmart, bro. I'm just not. It's meant for a different clientele. And it reminded me, Robin and I used to go to like Sandals Resorts, right? After about 6 times, and we even paid the bigger package where you get the butler service. I was telling her this the other night, and she goes, well, Chris, we could have got in-room dining. We just didn't use them for anything except some extra towels. So that's probably why we shouldn't pay that. But Scott, it becomes the same experience over and over again. When I was going through the Walmart phase of my life, I just realized I was butting my head on the ceiling and that there were other places I could go. And I had to change my mind, before, and then change my actions. And I'm planting those seeds in the ground. And if I wait long enough, they harvest. And it's the same thing. How old are you right now?
51.
51. I'm 51 this month, at the end of this month. Look at you're in great shape, dude. You play racquetball how many days a week?
I play about 11 times a week. So I play twice a day most days. So I play in the morning and in the evening. And then I do F45 on Saturday. And then I do play on Sunday. So Monday through Thursday is twice, Fridays once, Saturdays F45, Sunday is racquetball again.
How many people would you say on average our age work out that many times a week?
Probably less than 5%, I would bet. I guess. I'm not sure.
Why do you do it?
Because I've worked really hard to get to where I am, and I want to live a long time. I want to be healthy, and also too, when you get up early at 4, you get an advantage on your competition. It just sets, you get your first win of the day, whether I win or lose on the racquetball court, which we're very competitive, and it just sets the tone for the whole day. I'm also an aggressive person, so dealing with some of the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis, it helps me get that aggression out. So that way I'm more of a level-headed leader, which in my younger days, I was not a level-headed leader. So I've had to learn how to get some of that aggression out. I do it on the racquetball court.
You know, so many people, if they would, even if they're sitting here, I can't work out twice a day. I'm working. Da, 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 da. Well, number one, yes, you can. You can get up early, like you just said. Number two, you can go for a walk. Number three, you never take the elevator. Number four, you park farthest away that you can while you're at the grocery store and just walk back and forth. Get your body moving, because getting these chemicals flowing in our body the right way, why not do little teeny 1 degree increments to possibly make your life better?
It is. And plus, I follow successful people and they take care of themselves. You know, there's a lot of people that we follow that keep themselves in good shape. And I think both you and your wife, I mean, y'all are good looking people. And we take pride in what we look like. I mean, I don't want to be, and I've been that way. I've been 265 pounds. I'm walking around at about 190 right now. And I've been overweight and I let myself go. I've shaved in the dark because I was so embarrassed of what I look like. I've wore 3XL shirts and left them untucked and looked like I was wearing around a bed sheet, you know. I've been there, and it was not a fun way to live, where I was a guy at the pool that had the white t-shirt on, you know, and I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. Like, what the hell am I doing? And luckily my wife loved me, and, you know, I give her grace, because I'm not, you know, it takes a lot to stick with someone that's let themselves go like that, you know. And next thing I know, I'm like, my wife's done shrunk my pants. No, my ass got bigger, you know. My wife shrunk my shirt. No, like, well, that don't fit exactly right. And then you're going up a size. Man, they must make these for slim fit. No, I was fat. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. And I wasn't even comfortable in my own skin. And then that confidence. And then, you know, when you take care of yourself, your spouse does. And when your spouse does, you do. You know, when I get up to go play racquetball in the morning, my wife's getting up to go work out too. She's right now in the best shape of her life. And so it's just it's a lifestyle. I mean, we've worked really hard to get where we are, and we're going to let ourselves go for what? So we can die young of diabetes and high blood pressure and anything else that comes our way. I just do it. And when I sit and think about all the things that I do, it's a bit overwhelming, because people will tell me, hey, how do you do everything that you do and still be a dad and still be a good husband first and foremost? First of all, our health is most important. Then it's our wife. Then it's our children, then it's our business, then it's our community. But it has to start with health first. And it's just so important to keep ourselves in good shape. And also, if I'm a leader and telling people I want you to be the best version of you, and my gut's hanging out, and y'all need to take better care of yourself, then I'm a hypocrite, you know, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I've been there, man, and it's not a fun way to live, man. Shaving in the dark, and you say, well, gosh, Scott, how in the hell did you do that? I was so ashamed of the man in the mirror. I would hit the light off. I would pass a mirror, would not look at it. So just vision this for a second. I would go start the shower, and I would have the light on. But when I got out, I would flip the light out. So I'm literally in the dark, and you grab a razor and you put on the shaving cream and you shave and you feel. So I would come out to the breakfast table with cuts all over my face, because you got to think, I got a double chin and you can't get in all those places. So I mean, my face I'm 70 pounds heavier. So then you cut yourself. So my wife, she never said anything about it, but she knew what I was doing. And I would sit down at the breakfast table with our children, and I'd have blood trickling down, because I try to wipe it off, and I'd take a baby aspirin every day. And so your blood's thin. So when I do that, my wife would wipe it off and she would just help me clean my face. And they're like, Dad, you get in a fight with a razor? Yeah, I cut myself, but it would be all over my face. And that was because I was so ashamed. And finally, she said, look, I love you. We've been together since I was 17. She was 15. I'm 51. And as you know, that's hard to do this day and age. I mean, it's much easier just to leave, right? The tough ones figure it out. And there's plenty of times she should have left me and didn't. Thank God she didn't, because I didn't deserve to be a husband. I didn't deserve to be a husband and deserve to probably be around. And but she said, look, if you don't make changes, you've saved your money, you've set us up financially, you've won in business. But I want you to envision something. I want you to envision another man walking your daughter down the aisle. Because if you don't make changes, you're not going to be here. And let me tell you something. I'm going to marry somebody. He's going to be young and hot. Is what she told me. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, you bitch. I can't believe she said that. But then it clicked. Like sometimes, buddy, when people talk to us and they truly care about us and they're not just putting us down, it's not the people that are below us. Because when you start winning, they start feeling uncomfortable about themselves. It's the people that are above us that sit and say, hey, Scott, you got it, man. You're letting yourself go. My blood pressure was through the roof. I was drinking every day, Chris. You wouldn't recognize that man while I was early 30s. You wouldn't even recognize him. Like I made nobody proud. My mom will always be proud of me, but like nobody else. So shaving in the dark, man. And I just made a choice at that time. I got to make better choices, and I eat better, drink more water, and working out. But it's just winning the day, man. It's just starting out with a win and trying to maximize every day that we have. Because like you referenced earlier, we could be like those poor people in North Carolina, which our friend Adam Smith and John Paramore are down there leading that charge and selflessly rescuing people. And you got our government sending billions of dollars overseas. And I just read something online, which it could be not true. So please excuse me if I'm not right. I don't want to get political, where the families are getting like $750 or something like that. And I'm like, no, what kind of shit is this? And you got private
when the house is floating down the river and they don't know where their son is, he's buried in mud somewhere probably.
And there's death and there's everything else that's up there. And a friend of mine just went there, and we've got multiple people there. He was doing supply runs. He had to wash off his truck from the stench of death. He could smell his truck from inside his house and had to go wash it off. The smell of death and mud that is undescribable. So my problems that I have are not problems.
Yeah.
Those people are dealing with something catastrophic. So also too, I think being grateful, not being satisfied, but being grateful plays a lot in, I think, how we're successful too. We're grateful for our spouse. We're grateful for our family. We're grateful for our companies. We're grateful for our community. We're grateful for our, friends.
Bro, and I'm the biggest lesson that I learned. I'm actually grateful when the challenge shows up because, and this is just my way of looking at it, and I'm not trying to put it on anybody else, but my faith includes a higher power. And I realize that it's happening for me, not to me. And when I got over that victim mindset, because I was overweight at one point, I was drinking like a fish at one point, I was paying woe is me, because as an entrepreneur, I had this mark and I wasn't hitting it. And I started getting angry. It didn't matter how hard I worked, couldn't get there. But when I started realizing that this thing that keeps showing up that's actually making me feel really uncomfortable, that I actually have a choice. That was the big thing that I had to learn, is that I have a choice. And not from the result that I got from changing, but the courage to make the change is what I'm grateful for. Seeing that there is an opportunity. And dude, it's led to some of the best relationships. It's led to some of the most courage. Not so much strength, but courage to say, hey, if it all gets taken away, because there's no guarantee any of this lasts. I mean, that's what North Carolina just showed me again. I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. I've got a lot of experiences, and there is a way. There's always a way. And I like aligning myself with other people that have found that. That's the way I found out about me being overweight, was reading about Andy Frisella. He had this little simple book, and he talked about his woe is me story, making no money,
And all of a sudden he decided, I'm going to get in shape. And he created this program called 75 Hard. I'd never heard of the damn thing. Millions of people had already done it, but I'd never heard of it. Scott, I went on 75 Hard, lost 45 pounds, broke my need for alcohol every single day of my life, and started realizing I feel better now than I felt when I was 30. And so the opportunity to become vulnerable, to see the challenge, to make the choice, because I also did 75 Hard November 16th. I wanted to hit Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve. Also, we live in New England, so the one workout outside a day was a 40-pound weight vest in the snow. I was gonna, if I'm gonna challenge myself, I'm gonna do it. Here's the best part. Robin, who weighs $110 and 5'3", no need to do any of this stuff. Outside with me on every workout at the gym, changing our diet, reminding each other of selfies. She started reading personal development books for the first time in her life. Don't tell me you can't get good stuff by being around good people who are just willing to share like you just did. Hey, man, I'm going to take your excuses away just a little bit, is what you said, because I too have been there. I just made a different choice. And that's, if there's anything about that, and I keep saying to people, that flame inside of there, when I see people catch on fire, that's all I need to take all of my excuses away to move forward. And it's why I like hanging out with successful people, because yeah, there's some cocky people. There's some people that are still have some learning lessons, but there are lots and lots of people that have been through the ringer, have come out the other side, and they're there to give you the advice that they didn't have when they were going through that struggle. And you're one of those guys. And here you are, you're going through a struggle now. I can hear you kind of talking about it without talking about it. But your attitude, when you were in your 30s, shaving yourself in the dark, if you'd have had this challenge, you think you would have overcome it then?
Oh, I would have. I tell you right now, I'd tapped out. I would have quit. I would have quit. I wouldn't have been mentally strong enough to handle it. And yeah, there's no way. And I did 75 Hard too. And then obviously I've gotten to know Andy pretty well through RTA Syndicate, because I was one of the original. So I was second year. So they had the first year. First year is 50 people. They brought in another 50 people second year. And so I did 75 Hard, and it was life changing for me. I mean, I lost a bunch of weight. People watched my journey. I worked out in 2 airports. I was in LA airport, did 1 workout, got to the DC airport, had to do my other workout outside, and a friend was with me flying. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, but I got to go work out for 45 minutes. He's like, dude, it's like 11 o'clock. We still have a 2-hour drive home. I said, if I don't do it right now, 24 hours is going to go through. I got to do it. So I'm in the airport doing my inside workout, and the other airport doing, people looking at me in LA, you can imagine like I'm crazy. But it changed my life. And then when I went to go around those people, they looked different. They talked different. They dressed different. They acted different. And I'm like, I've really got these, some of these people are the best versions of themselves, and I'm not. And I guess that was back in 18, 19, whatever year it was. I can't remember now. I've been at least RTA for 5 years. So maybe it's my 6th year, I guess. And you know, being around those people, it forces you to level up. I was the chubby dude in there that wasn't the best version of themselves. I was sitting in the corner scared to talk to everybody. And then I had to sit for a minute and get around some people and say, shit, they're just like me.
Yeah.
I had to go in there and say, wait a minute, I fucking deserve to be in here.
Yeah.
You know, wait a minute, they put their pants on just like me. Yeah. I remember when Grant invited me, his wife invited me to his birthday party on a private yacht. And I've known him since he was selling CDs out of the back of his car in auto industries where he started. I've known him his whole career. And I've invested in like 8 of his funds in his Cardone funds. And his wife sent me this paper post or something message. It looked fake. So I clicked it. You're invited to Grant's private party. And I'm like, this is a scam. So I couldn't text Grant. I didn't know if it was a bot or a scam. So then I had to get a message to her through Jared Gland. And so Jared got a hold of it. No, it's legit, man. We want you there. So I remember when I got there in Miami, there's this yacht sitting there, which there was only like 60 people was invited at most. And I'm walking across there and I'm dressed up in my best clothes that I got. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm nervous as hell right now. Just sit for a second, go, wait a minute. it's that imposter syndrome that comes across us, because I've never been that person that thinks I'm ever better than anybody else, because I'm not. I've been extremely lucky, fortunate to be where I'm at. I have amazing people that I surround myself with, that I have the honor to lead. But in walking across there, I had to give myself, Chris, a damn pep talk to go down. Because I mean, there's millionaires, billionaires on there, and I had the time of my life. And he saw me and he goes, "Man, I am so happy you are here." Because I mean, we've got some history. And so, when you go through that, when you go and you're around people, and some people see you doing that journey on 75 hard, they're either going to look at it and go, "I can't do that," or "He's just flexing. He ain't really doing. He's really not taking a pic. He's not reading. He's not drinking the water. He's not eating no diet. I'm sure he's pounding beers at night, blah, 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 and then they can't do it. So then they become a hater. I bet he didn't follow it through. And then some people will get inspired and say, "Wait a minute. I can do that. Chris showed me the way. Chris, man, thank you. I saw you doing those walks with your lovely wife. And guess what? You inspired me to make a change." And that's the different levels where people are at. And trust me, I've been at every single one of them. I've done stuff I'm not proud of. And holy cow, man, thank God we didn't have social media back when you and I were growing up. Holy shit, we'd probably be under the jail. At least I would.
Dude, I'll never forget. I was 22 years old, driving down the road. I was in the passenger seat. She was in the driver's seat. And I look out at this person that's overweight, and they're kind of like walking, jogging. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but it wasn't polite. And I remember she looked at me and she said, "Well, at least they're working out." Bro, that was a zinger. And unfortunately, there were a few more years of those zingers, and I started getting humbled, because I realized that, again, it was all attitude. And I think when you choose to do some of the things that we do, it's very hard to find that winner's circle with an attitude that is selfish, with an attitude that is demeaning toward other people. Now, you might be able to find success once, but you can't sustain it.
That's right.
And that's when the personal development stuff really started coming into my life. And the last piece for me was finding the people. I did it real quietly for a while. I read the books and I experiment over here. You couldn't see how I did it, because if I did it wrong, I didn't want to show anybody that I did it wrong. It's kind of like shaving in the dark, And eventually, though, there comes a time. Gosh, I remember that networking event that I went to, and they took a bunch of photos, and of course they have it all on social media. So you want to see yourself on social media, and I'm looking around and I'm like, where am I? Oh, I'm the fat guy right there. That's a picture of the back of my neck. And I was like, little Robin, dude, she's 5'3". I'm 6'2". I weigh twice what she weighs. And at that point I was 260 pounds. And I couldn't see it. And Robin had made the hints, but she was really polite about it. But when I finally saw it, and then I saw the other people in that room, the first thing that came to mind is, well, that's one thing that you can definitely do. Maybe you can't be as smart. Maybe you'll never make as much money. Maybe you won't have, all the insider tactics that they had. But the one thing you can do is dress well and get yourself in shape. 75 Hard was a perfect thing for that. I did it right around the same time, 2019. And what's crazy is my diet is forever changed. My attitude is forever changed. The way, like having a buddy like Mark Zalmanoff who writes, I saw a post in there, just a friendly PSA. You don't have to eat as much. You don't have to shove as much food in your face as you think. Robin had been saying that to me for years. Like, wait 20 minutes, Chris. And I was like, nah, because I'm an entrepreneur, right? I work. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I got to eat now. And so just shove my face full of stuff and then go back to work. All of that behavior started to change because it wasn't even about the money. I was working so hard because I didn't want to live. I didn't want to face reality. And so if I just bury myself for years at a time in work, I'm just going to die and it'll all be over with. What a horrible way to do it. And all of a sudden I was like, but I think I love her. And I think I love these children. And I think I love my friends. I want to start having some real experiences with people. So I need to be around to do that. And it's not all about just what I can give. A lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time receiving much of anything at all. And that's when the cracks started happening. I let a little bit of love in. And the next thing you know, start talking to some amazing people. I have friends like you that, dude, if I know, it's talk about John Paramore and Adam Smith. You call those human beings up, I promise you they will help you.
For sure.
I promise you they will help you.
For sure.
They're good human beings. And all we need is to stop displaying all the separation and negativity and division that we have. Like, are you red? Are you blue? Shut up. Man, I see people commenting in ways, even people inside of my family, it's like they never spoke that way before. You're falling into a pattern. What we need to display is friends getting together, people helping each other out, people getting back in shape, people not drinking and eating all this processed crap. Hey, a man that runs 5 companies and has 30 some odd entities is figures out how to work out twice a day still at 51 years old. And even though he's going through a challenge, he has a smile on his face and he's still pushing forward. I friggin' love it, man.
Man, you know me well. You know me well, because you can most people wouldn't recognize that on me. My wife recognized it because I know you're going through a season. And she said, you don't even need to tell me. She just said, hey, is there anything I could do for you, honey? I said, honey, I'm just going through a season. And that's crazy, because you're one of the few people besides her, now a few close friends, that says, hey, I know that you're struggling with some things right now.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much I try to hide it, because it has been a big pivot. And you say, well, Scott, what could it be so bad? Well, when you have 175 associates, and as you and I discussed at the beginning, we've been telling our associates, we love you, but this isn't reality. Save your money, pay yourself first. If you don't need it to survive, like I fill this water bottle up, this water bottle's probably 2 weeks old. I don't want to drink it for so long because it's plastic. I'll keep it about a month and then I'll throw it away, right? And then I'll get another one. But this isn't smart water. This is out of the spigot back there, right? Out of the sink. But I'm going, so I save money. And I simply told them, hey, if you don't need it to survive, put it down, but pay yourself first. Please, 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 please save your money. I mean, we had people making historic amounts of money. Well, the industry's changed. Margins have changed. Supply's up, demand's somewhat down. We've got high interest rates, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Economies, inflation is pretty high. I don't care what they say. Go to the grocery store, and I don't go to Walmart either. Haven't been there in years. I don't fly coach. I fly first class. That changed my mindset, because I have to produce to pay for it. And I will not fly coach. Like I will not. I'm too cheap to fly private, though. I won't go that far. But we go to Martin's grocery store, where Martin's costs substantially more than Walmart. But I don't want to go to Walmart because some of the people there kind of freak me out. Like I'm not better than them, but you see the people at Walmart, there's some weird shit that goes on at Walmart. So anyway, we choose not to go, but we pay a premium to go to Martin's, to the point where they saw my wife during Thanksgiving and they go, Miss Simons, you're a VIP client. Here's a free turkey. They knew her by her first name. Everybody in there knows us. And it's because we choose to go there, and we pay a premium to go there because we feel like better quality meat, blah, 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 blah. We know the lay of the store. But, it's crazy that you can pick up on the fact that you know me so well that something's just, you see a concern in my eye, no matter there's a smile. And that's because I'm worried about my people, because I know some people didn't listen to me and now they're financially struggling. I mean, with margins going down, they get paid on what they produce. Well, and so what do? So you either say, I can't make any money in the auto industry anymore. And then you quit and you go somewhere else. And, I'll go to change of scenery. It'll be better. No, you got to take you with you, or you're going to stick and fight. Well, some people have chose to jump because maybe the other dealerships offered a guarantee, short-term guarantee. But if you don't perform, the guarantee is not forever. It's going to go away.
Yes.
And so you see some people that you really been over backwards for, you coach and train and mentor, leave. And I take it personal because I care about my people. And I know some people are making very bad decisions. They've already contacted me back because I made a horrible decision. So I try to tell you. But at the end of the day, I care about them. So I want to do what's best for them. But yeah, it is, it's a pivot. And I'll tell you what I did, Chris. Fourth quarter of last year, I went to my wife and I said, honey, we got to have a family meeting. And we talk about money. Like our family, our kids know about all of the companies we part own. where they're at, what they do. When I get distributions, I share it with them. Not that I want them, like they can have access to it. And I want them to see what hard work will get you when we get passive income coming in. And I sit and I explain to them, and I said, honey, look, next year I got to work more than I ever have on my primary business. It is going to change, and I need to be there, honey. Cancel family vacations, canceled all trips beside work trips. Now, I do take my family on some work trips. That's a benefit. So I can't take my wife, I can't take my son, I can't take my daughter, and I do that. So we may stay an extra day or two. But we had a family trip going to Italy, canceled. Lost money, canceled it, but canceled. And I said, I have to be. It is going to be turbulent times. I already see it. I predict it. You know, I was traveling to Dallas once a week. I haven't been to Dallas all year. I haven't been there at all. I was traveling in these other groups. I either dropped out or went low into the membership and said, hey, I have to focus on number one, my health, my family, my wife, my kids, and my business. All the other stuff I'm involved in is just me investing. I don't have an active role in it. It has to be passive because I don't have time, because I have to make sure I work out. I have to make sure I'm there for my son's ball games. My daughter's working with us now. My son works for us part-time here at the business, besides working for Simon's Enterprises, Inc. But Chris, to tell your son that's been looking forward to going on a trip to Italy, which is where my mom's family's from, that sucked. That felt like, man, I'm a failure. Like, what am I doing here? But I had to. So I made personal sacrifices, but some of these people didn't. They went and bought brand new motorcycles, brand new cars, bought houses. And now they're like, I can't afford to live. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I've told you for 4 or 5 years, like it's going to be a problem. Like, I'm sorry, but you should have listened, you know?
You know, I this was a while ago. I was having a conversation with Robin, and I said, look, it looks like we're getting ready to close on that $8 million deal. Now, previous to that, a couple years previous to that, we had a huge financial win, and then all of a sudden everything went down, and Chris went back to work to rebuild that it got knocked down to the foundation, man. Thank God there is foundation, but that's all that was left. And I took a couple years and I built it back up, and she didn't see me very much. Kids didn't see me very much. She wasn't very happy about it, but I had to focus, right? So this deal comes across, and I said, I think it's going to happen. She goes, man, I am so glad. We're going to get the kitchen repaired. We're going to go on those trips to Europe. I can't wait to do it. And I said, Robin, hold on one second, babe. Hold on one second. I said, can we maybe consider something different this time? Because that's what we did the first time we were successful. And so I had to work so hard for 2 years and couldn't see you because we didn't do it this way. I said, can we please go produce assets and spend our money on things that produce assets that are passive, that keep coming back to us? And then we take the money that we make, not the principal that we put into it, but the extra that we make. And then we will continue to go on vacations and continue to do these things that you want to do. And Scott, I'm so proud of her. She said, you're absolutely right. That was the wrong way for me to think about it, da, 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 da. And we've been on that track ever since. And it's okay if people have made mistakes. It's okay if they're suffering. Now, what you can't do is you can't be Daddy Warbucks and save everyone, because then it's like taking your own oxygen mask off. Can't do that. But what you can do there is be there for them when they have the aha moment. Because you know what? I know you might not be making as much money here, but you know what you can do? There are services out here. You can take a second job. Maybe you can't work out for 2 years straight, but you can go get a service job where you're mowing some lawns. There's going to be somebody somewhere that needs something done, and you can go do whatever you have to do. And guess what? I'll be right here because I'm also pivoting in my industry. And dude, I know your industry is getting hammered right now, but I know you are going to find a way. And if I'm a betting man, which by the way, I don't bet except on me, I would look at the man that has the success, that has consistently done it for 20, 30 years of his life and say, I think I'm going to put my chips in with this guy. And I'm going to go do whatever I have to do over here because I know Scott's going to change this thing. Hell, we might be selling bananas to people at the end of this thing, but I don't care. And again, that comes back down to that loyalty thing. And it's so interesting to me to watch people who are loyal when the winning happens. But that loyalty shifts. And what hurts my heart is like you. I put it all over social media all the time. Like this is how my grandfather and my dad and my stepdad taught me how to live. The way we respond, the way we do things. This is what I was told a man is. And then I don't want my children or my wife now to look back at me and go, oh, that was all bullshit lip service. Now that times are tough. So thank you, Dad, for giving me an excuse for when things start to hurt for me. I'm just going to go quit on my wife. I'm just going to go quit on my kid. I'm just going to go quit on myself. I'm going to go quit on society. I'm going to be nihilistic. That's how all this shit's happened. And when people actually start to understand that now that media, TV media, they know that people aren't watching it. So guess what all of these evil factions are doing? They're now on social media, and all they're trying to do is get you to drink the negative Kool-Aid. If they can scare the hell out of you and keep you in a seat and suck the BTUs out of you like that movie, The Matrix, they can go about doing whatever the hell they want because you won't know how to stand up and fight for yourself. And that's this is the war I believe we're in, man.
That's so true. I'll give you a perfect example, Chris, and I'll try to stay as vague as I possibly can, but it's a situation going on right now.
Okay.
Had an employee, team member, that's worked for me for quite a while. Was thinking about getting out of the auto industry. And so I get creative in times like this. One of the creative things I could do is okay, Chris, what do you need to pay your bills? I'm going to put you on an over-under, and I'm going to give you a guarantee. If you perform over that guarantee, we're going to put it in a fund for you because that's what you need to survive, because he wasn't good with managing his money. If you're under, we're going to look at it every month. And at 6 months, we're going to say, okay, how much you over and under. If you're above, we're going to give you the difference. If you're below, we need to have a conversation. Through June of the year, he was down about 18 grand under. So we paid him 18 grand more than what he produced. Let it go on for a couple more months. Hey, man, you got to turn it on. What can we do to help you? What can you do to help us? It got worse. Met with him and said, hey, man, sorry, your guarantee's gone. We're not going to take the money back. The under, you keep. Thank you. But the guarantee's gone. Last month had a terrible month. Produced his numbers, not ours, his numbers, had one of his worst months of his career. Went over his pay sheet with him. I didn't, immediate leader did. And he is going to make about a fourth of the guarantee. He said, my spouse is going to be very angry. She's not angry at him. She's angry at us. She's angry at the entity. She went on social media last night and bashed us. Her husband still works here.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Bashed us. Now, they don't know the whole story. So the bashing is this company did him dirty. I have to sit here with professional resolve and just not say anything right now because I'm obviously going to address it. Mm-hmm. But I know that if I did that, because see, guess what? My incomes went down too because some of the dealerships are down. A couple of them are up. One of them's holding its own, and two of them are down pretty far. And it's a couple franchises that not just ours, they're just down. They're down in sales, you know. It's not just our issue. But if my wife went on there and bashed my partners, like I wouldn't be here today. And so all these people that used to work here, whatever, they don't know the whole story. They're jumping on it. Oh, that's dirty. They're dirty. That's dirty people. So it's almost went like in the area, went like viral. And so much I want to go on there and say, but he's been paid thousands of dollars more than he's produced. And that's a person that we've been there for multiple years. So, you know, being a leader and owning a business isn't for everyone.
No.
If I wasn't in a better place, I would be handling this a whole lot different because everybody's blowing my phone up. Like, what are you going to do about this? Like, I just want you to know, like my phone, I bet I've got 100 messages as I sit here on my phone saying that's, you know, I can't believe they would say that about you, this, that, and the other, about your company, this, that, and the other. And I just sit and said, hey, they don't know all the facts. You know, people have their own opinion. It's okay. But I assure you there's more to the story. But as leaders, you and I know going through this, That's the part of entrepreneurship people don't see. Or when people don't know you, they just make up stuff about you because they don't like the fact that you may be happy in your marriage or you're winning and they're jealous. But the old Scott, that would have affected me greatly. And here I kind of just sit and just smile, saying, it's going to be okay. Like, this actually drives me to be even more and more better of a leader. But it is frustrating, I can tell you, as you can imagine. But that's a real life situation that's going on today, being an entrepreneur that we're having to deal with.
I can't second enough that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. The statistics speak for it. After about 10 years, I think there's maybe 5% left. Mm-hmm. Most businesses that are left never get to $10 million in gross sales. I could go on and on about the statistics.
Chris, the average general manager of a car dealership, their average tenure is about 2.5 years on average. I've been general manager 9 years on my previous job, 14 years here. And I left the other opportunity because I became a partner in this opportunity. I've never been terminated from a job, although those times I deserved it. I guess that just showed me grace, especially younger in my career when I was very immature. But, when you start having turnover and things start to happen, sometimes you even question, like, is my leadership, have I been phased out? Like, is there a new type of leadership? But then I sit and think, but look at all these lives I have changed. But no, being a leader and being an entrepreneur is not for everyone, but it's awfully damn good too. So,
I wrote a whole damn book about it.
Yeah.
That in the forward of my book, it says, this is a lifestyle choice. This is not about making money. Mm-hmm. And you have to realize there are rules to the game. And I love those rules. I love them, brother. And the reason that I love them, it's immediate feedback. Well, not always immediate, but it's immediate feedback. That the quality of your life is determined by your particular decisions. I don't have anybody to blame. There's no one but me. And if I don't go out and stab the fish or the bear, we're not eating tonight. And that's not for everyone, but I do recommend, almost like I say, I think everyone should work in a restaurant in their life. And I think everyone should work retail at least once in their life, because you can learn how people truly are, and you can learn how to keep yourself calm when other people don't know how to do so. It humbles you a little bit. And entrepreneurism, in my opinion, is the same way. If you take it seriously, it's going to humble you. It's going to make you a better human. And you have to choose to become better. And you're going to get these situations that show up. You bless and love on people and think the best. But you know what? They probably had a completely different upbringing, and they're probably scared to death. And they're probably not aware of the consequences that they're causing, not just for themselves. But when you take out a good leader, or attempt to take out a good leader, you're causing more damnation in this world than you could ever imagine. And I believe on some levels, not to get too specific, that we're experiencing that right now. Mm-hmm. And I think my hope is that changes in a couple months.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. And, when so many people are so upset, and I just sit here, I did Breakfast with Champions this morning from 8 to 9, where we served a lady that has a nonprofit. And Chris, she struggled with her pitch. And my segment before last week was about or 2 weeks ago was about where I went to this nonprofit fundraiser. I didn't want to go. It was at night. I go to bed early, and it's at a church. And my wife was like, "Hey, there's this fundraiser." I'm like, "Honey, let's just write a check." She goes, No. Our friends reserved a table, and they're counting on us to go. And I respect the people that invited us. So I said, "Damn it, honey." Like, she reminded me that morning, and I'm like, I hate to be negative. I really don't want to go. Can we just write a check? She goes, "No, we're going." I went, and Chris, the lady on the stage, it's called Isaiah 117 House, was the best. She gave the best pitch I've ever heard in my career from that stage. We cried, we laughed. She put any public speaker to shame, because she believed in the cause. And it's a transition home for foster children. So from where they go from the home, they go here, and they give them new backpacks, new shoes. They have their own room. They give them their own dignity before they transition. Because, you know, social services only has so many, they only have so much resources. And they don't, and like some of these kids are showing up with like backpacks with cockroaches in their backpacks.
Ugh.
Some of them the state took, some of them were voluntarily given up. Some of them were taken from their home, right? And I said, hey, that lady gave the best speech. She made us feel what everybody went through, the child, the social worker, the parent, the parents that are going to accept these children. And I learned so much. And the next day I saw the guy that invited me, and he was a federal probation officer. And he goes, Scott, what did you think about yesterday? I said, that lady, she's opened up, Chris, 57 of these homes.
Wow.
57 in 5 years. I said, that was the greatest salesperson I've ever heard give a pitch from a stage. And he looked at me and goes, Scott, I didn't even think about it that way. I said, bro, like, I know you're not in sales, but being in sales, it was the greatest pitch I've ever heard. Like, if you didn't leave that place and want to give or donate or be there, then you weren't paying attention. She made us cry. She made us laugh. She made us feel what everybody went through in that phase, including the children. She told stories about children that went through that and how they gave them new shoes and they showed up to school the next day with dignity.
Yeah.
And I said, it was the greatest sales pitch I ever heard. And he goes, you're right. You're right. So one of the ladies in Breakfast with Champions, she's always given, and she has a nonprofit. And she goes, Scott, let me pitch next week, and y'all tear my pitch apart. And we had people, like one of them is Kim Walsh Phillips. She's an expert on people giving public speeches and pitching from a stage. Kim donated her time. She pitched last week, and then this morning, after she practiced all week with some of the experts, she pitched again. And let me tell you something, her pitch was 100 times better than the week before. And she said, thank you for this, because she basically got free consulting. And everybody was wowed about how she improved in 1 week. So no matter, I've got people bashing, you know, quote unquote, bashing me on social media. I showed up at Breakfast with Champions. I showed up here, and I'm going to give here. And I'm going to go out on these showroom, and I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to put on my work shirt, and I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to be positive. I'm going to shake everybody's hand, although I'm being bashed on social media. It's somewhat going a little bit viral, but that's just part of the deal. I'm not going to change who I am, you know, and I'm going to go out there as a leader today, and I'm going to be positive with everybody come in. I'm not going to sit and say they don't know my side of the story or our side of the story or this, that, or the other. No, that doesn't matter. People that truly know us and know this company are going to sit and say, wait a minute, they do a lot for this community and they're good people.
Yeah.
No matter what's being said. So that's something that an entrepreneur is going through right now.
Thank you, number one, for being so vulnerable. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
number two, I'm not worried about you at all. Number three, I want to leave you with something. I have no idea if it's going to help or not. I have no idea if I'm even going to say it right. I believe I will. But maybe just something to stuff in your pipe and toke on a little bit later. But I remember about 20 years ago, I was living in Waynesboro, and I had a job at the Shakespeare House in Stanton painting that playhouse. And it had all these different filigree of colors on it. And we could only paint at the off time. So we were painting all night long and weekends and stuff like that. And I was listening to audiobooks, and I had all my men listening to audiobooks because it just better them, right? And I was listening to this book by Earl Nightingale, and he was talking about the Great Depression. And this company, like a lot of companies, was failing massively during the Great Depression. So there's this one guy that shows up at this guy's company, and he says, I have a solution for you. And if you implement this solution, you're going to pay me $10,000. Now, that $10,000 back in the 30s was a lot. I mean, houses didn't cost $10,000 then. Houses might have cost $2,500, right? So it's a lot of money. And to ask for that kind of money during a downward trend, idiotic. But he says, listen, I'm going to show you how to do it first. You just need to sign this piece of paper that if it benefits you more than the money that I'm asking for, you pay me the money. And he said, okay. All the guy did was teach him about the 5 critical tasks. It wasn't called that in Earl Nightingale's book, but it was, here's how to prioritize your day on your assembly line. The guy immediately paid him the $10,000. And that to me was the greatest salesman that I had ever heard in my life, because this is what salespeople do. Great salespeople. They understand the value that you're seeking and simply show you an effective way to get what it is you want. And that is why I love doing what I do, because it requires all of my creative processes and a little bit of butt puckering usually, because I don't see the answer, but to hold space for the faith that it's coming, that's that flame, man. And I friggin' love it. And I know for a fact that it's going to be a very interesting story. And bro, once you have done this and you've made this transition, will you please come back on and talk about the steps? Because it'll be maybe an aha moment for somebody. Mm-hmm. And I've sat down with you in groups with 20 or 30 people, and I've watched, we go around this person for 5 minutes, they tell us what their problem is, and they go around, and if anybody has the advice, and I've watched you sit there in a chair, kind of, twizzling your mustache, and for 3 to 5 minutes, you just lay out a simple solution that person, I've watched you do it again and again and again, and I know that you have a heart for doing this. I know that you do, and I would be so grateful if you'd come back and just share that win, because it might encourage someone else to go out and seek their win too. That'd be something you consider?
Absolutely, brother. For you, of course. And hey, thank you so much for having me on. Real recognizes real, and Waynesboro, Virginia, man, 15 minutes. That's where Fishburne Military School is. Play is right down the street. I would love to have you come visit the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. And thank you so much for having me on. You call, I'll answer, you text, I'll respond always. And the first time I met you, I just real recognizes real. And although, some faces and names come and go, the real people still stick together.
I appreciate you saying real recognizes real. You're one of the really, really good people, man. And if there's ever anything, I'm a phone call away. More important, man, love on those kids and love on your wife. Keep doing what you're doing. And everybody, we'll see you in the trenches. Take care.
Chris, thank you, man.
You're welcome, brother.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
Hey friend, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, please leave a review and subscribe to catch future casts. If you really enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it so others can benefit from it as well. I'll see you in the trenches.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.